Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? I guess a lot of you feel like you're ready to get out of here. I know what you feel like. And nevertheless, the Father reminded me the other day that what we are doing is a transitional process, meaning we can, enjoy higher timelines, higher magical things, but we do have intent and a purpose here. We do have a mission uh, with that. And again, I don't put times on this unless divinity or Father specifically says times. But again, I will say one of the hints we have is that things are close at hand, and actually. Linda Summers, more or less, received that confirmation through her and I speaking one evening, and she put the post out with the picture of it, which is the hand of God, which was on her blanket upon her knee. But as we know, many of you know that everything is very symbolic, especially for us angels in this time, and that the higher perspective will always have the most highest perspective when you look at things. And you will come to find during your transitional stages that, yeah, you'll come to see that one symbolism or one metaphor can mean more than one thing, and that's very common as well. So again, let me say that with each symbolic or metaphorical thing, there are messages that pertain to the certain levels of consciousness, and this is why there are several. As you keep advancing, you will get different understandings and different perspectives of what a message was a while ago. One of the great examples of this is some of your old songs, that you liked when you were younger, you just liked them, but you'll play them now and they'll take on a whole different meaning because you're listening to them from a higher perspective. So, that's an example that is indicative of how perceptions change with symbolism and metaphorical um, experiences and things you are presented with. And it's also, it pertains to why it makes it more easier not to judge another, because again, there are different perspectives, and everyone is correct to the level of that perspective in their consciousness. Um, you know, and also there is guidance with that, and there are times when I will say things that doesn't resonate with others that are well on their path, and there are reasons for that. But several, again, perhaps that they're not to have in their mind or thoughts things that I say at that time because of who they will come into contact with. Also, it may bring up things within them, that they need to look at as well. Like if something I say or does, and before I say this, all of you understand that I am an activator and I am a trigger. And if there's something within you that's got to go, I will trigger it and I will activate it, because our overall goal is getting everyone to the highest. And I will reiterate again, negativity and fear, any of these sort of things are hindrances, and I will activate and aggravate them to get them out of you. You know, you get them right up front. You see how you act and, you know, what you say, then take a step back and look at what you said and look how you acted. And, you know, understand that this is all unity going forward, but it's a process where you must clear yourself, cleanse your fields, and, you know, don't judge others, don't compare yourself to others. It's all about you getting all of the information you can to empower yourself to the fullest. And that's what it's about. We have many teachers out there. Teachers are different in what they teach, but it does not mean that any of them is wrong. They are teaching to the levels and the ones they must. And how they teach is on the different levels of perspective and the different levels of the awakening consciousness. And there are many levels with that. When we're all back to source, it's all just a laugh about it. But we got to get there. And the way we get there is with unity, and, you know, not by judging others and not by being negative and fear. You work on these. So this is the way to do it. I also received from Father this morning. We are all right now on a 4D level. All of the angels, all of the rest that are not awakened, we are all mixed down among them right now. Meaning that you may not find in your outward surroundings or your interactions with others, you may not find higher divine 5D things occurring. And the reason is we're all put back down here on this 5D timeline for this most auspicious, important time for things that are occurring and have been setting up for the last month. You also have angelic tasks. You have future angelic tasks, and I've been alluding to this file. It's one of the reasons I set up the Rio Angels page to get to create the unity and the gathering of the most powerful angels, and to assist with others just awakening, where the most powerful angels have them right there, and they can assist them to the higher perspectives. So that's what essentially that the Rio Angels page is set up for. It's to gather the angels together and begin doing your angelic feats at the higher levels. But it's also a school for that. So we know we have many others at different levels and stages of their awakening and stepping into their divine gifts, preparing their physical vessels with this ascension to keep going forward and keep ascending. So it's part and parcel, and it's all engaging from the highest level of angels down to those just beginning to accept their angelic being of what they are, and to integrate that into this now, into their physical and energetic vessels. So we assist all with that. In doing this, nevertheless, there is a mandate, if you will, there is a priority with the Rio Angels page, and that is we need to affect things here on the higher creational levels, and what better way than gathering the most powerful angels together and put their energy together as a united force to get in here and to cause great cause and effect with all good intent. Of course, it's what we are, and it's no harm to come to anyone and anything that we do. We work on a higher creator levels. We are sub-creators. There is the prime creator. We are fragments of that. So you have what you are essentially down to the soul level is an aspect of God. You are a fragment of that, and when it's approved by God, Mother, Father, God, I will say, then, you know, you're given more of your power. But your prowess is contained to the timelines we're on. And there are very important reasons for that, just to go right to the extreme. We don't want one of you angels down here walking amongst everyone creating all kinds of miracles, because that just takes the whole human experience out of it for the others. So there's discretion and discernment used in when and how you apply your divine angelic gifts. But one thing I can grant you is that you have more access to them now than you ever did before, because of this ascension and actually what it is. You are part of the league. Thanks, Jennifer. Jennifer Peters, my fear is gone. Way to go, girl. Good stuff. I see you've been stepping more in your angelic prowess lately. It's just so appreciable to see so many angels stepping up and owning their divinity. And you know, as I openly proclaim, I am an overseer of the ascension. I'm here to assist angels and all of you, which are angels, into your highest empowerment and into your angelic gifts. But again, as we know, there is a process that goes right with your physical body, taking care of it, right up to integrating your powers, the discernment, the discipline of using them, and how you're able to assist others. So there's a whole lot with that. And I got kind of rambling on there. I do wish, and I believe, if we don't have it set up now, these videos that I'm doing, that they are being translated, this voice perhaps to text, I believe. I'll need to check into this in the future. I hope some of our other techie angels and angels, I believe, have that avenue set up. So that when I speak rather than write, that this does get translated. And I do prefer speaking. I get more out, and it's much more efficient and quicker on these timelines to speak and do the live. So I see many of you have you know, you're putting out questions here to me. I'm looking at the chat, and all of your questions are important, but may I ask, when I'm doing an address, that you refrain from asking your personal questions. I know they pertain to your development, but what I would rather is, and perhaps in the future, I know some of the admin on Real Angels are going to be doing question and answering live vids, which is very excellent as well to assist you. And I am also contemplating of, I may do just a couple lives of question and answer. May also, I love working with Linda Summers, so I may also see if she's up on doing an interview of that sort as well. So, you know, perhaps her and I may work together. I'll run that by her in the future. But having said that too, why I'm on this topic is that Linda and I also anticipate doing several very important shows in the future when we began to get into your actual divine gifts, utilizing them, and there will be write-ups coming out with these as well. So what I'm feeling we will be doing is perhaps a show onto certain divine gifts, getting into depth, and for you asking questions as we do the show, and then I'll have a write-up to put out later so that you have something that you can always refer to. You can print it off like I did with the last couple shows that Linda and I did together. And then you got that quick reference. You got it printed off somewhere or stored on your computer in a file wherever you may need it. You have readily access to it, and you don't need to go scrolling and looking for the vid Rick did or the post Rick did. You know, you got it. Okay, cool. So having said that, yeah, divine gifts are coming soon. Some of you are aware of how to use your gifts, but what we are going to be doing, like in the past, most of you strong angels usually work together or in small groups. But what's happening now, because of the unity and the gathering, we will be working in much larger groups. And it's because of the extent of the change we need to make on these timelines. So, having said that, this is what's to come. I'm giving you the inkling, heads up on, you know, the direction where we will be taken with this. So it's all, yeah, there's a divine reason why it is. Gather everyone there on the real angels, get them powered up, you know, get their stuff cleaned up to their highest, and be ready to go to create change, and very rapid and powerful change as well. So again, you and on the real angels, you know, all of you angels, you are receiving your sub creator abilities while you're in the human form here, which is awesome. And it's unprecedented, but this is the ascension. And this, again, is what it's all about. And having said that, the ascension is about the change. And about the change, yeah, politics is kind of involved in it, mainly Trump, what we're doing to change things. And there's no way that you don't get away from politics, because part of the reason we are here in such an amazing angelic and galactic force and presence is because of what had transpired upon the planet. Every one of us angels, we have the ability just to leave here, leave behind a body, and just go back to our energetic self. But during the course of this ascension, what's happening is that we're adding a beautiful experience on with it, ascension, where we actually do our mission here, and then we more or less walk into other dimensions and have more fun with these human vessels, you know, where you have your, what you feel as your twin flame, um, perfect relationships, and not limited to that, but, you know, all the beautiful and the good things you wish. These are the rewards. At this time, you may say it's a carrot hanging in front of your nose, you know, if you were a donkey, but that is the way it is right now. And we know that, and you're given enough magical signs, and you're given enough confirmations and forward-looking things to keep going forward and know that it's true, and get rid of that doubt, and keep your trust and your abstinence of fear, keep it concrete, and keep going forward with that is what I strongly always suggest. Yeah, I put out I put out the post. I'll refer to this last night. You know, I put that F. How will I say this? Quote F it post out. That's very important. I just like to what it is. I use whatever I need to use to raise one's vibration, always in good intent and good ways. And for anyone to have offense or an issue with that, Very quickly, I suggest for you just to look at what I just said and its intents and purposes, and listen to what I'm about to say, please. The intents and purposes is of that. If you have someone that's in a gloomy state, thinking about things of the past that's dragging them down, their energy is becoming negative. They're trapping themselves down in memories of the past. Well, one of the quickest ways to readjust is saying that statement 3 times out loud. It clears your thoughts. You're away from it, from that memory for a moment, higher enough. You have raised your vibration instantly high enough, perhaps to grasp your higher perspective, to know that none of that really means anything. So this is just a quick mechanism to raise yourself up, essentially out of a lower vibration very quickly into a higher one. And it's not to say that it's not for getting rid of all the memories. It's a quick fix to get you back up in that higher vibration where you can help yourself. So for some, this works. And if it works, that's good, because what we're all about is raising vibration, assisting each other, and empowering them to the fullest. And you know that there is a uniqueness amongst every one of you. You know that. And what assists some may not assist others, because there is that individuality. And so I put that special F phrase out there to assist ones we need to get up there, because they're dwelling and being miserable too long on these things that no longer serve. So give them quick breaks with that, and hey, that assists them, you know. So enough said about that. You got the point. That's what it's for, is to raise everyone up, you know, and that's what we are. There's no going back down lower. We're all about rising, and we're doing that. And, you know, we can. One thing about that F post, I asked Father, I said, okay, is that okay to put that out, eh? Yeah. So I said, good, Dad, I don't hesitate, and I put it out. And because it is with good intent, and intent from my heart. It's in a compassionate way that I put that out there. Give them what they need to rise. That's what we're about. And there is no taboo with, you know, bad words or what have you. I mean, let's get real here. Most of you, you cuss occasionally. I don't. I do rarely, but, you know, very rarely. But when I do, it'll only be that word, and it'll be said in a good way, you know, with good intent. So there is nothing bad with it. Unless you wish to associate badness with it, then you create that for yourself. But that's not me. When I speak the word, it's all with good intent. Anyways, you don't need to go there much farther. Thank you for listening to that part of it. Okay. So what we're seeing also is the masses, the unawakened masses, and the ones just awakening. So what we are witnessing is a very powerful indication, again, of what's transpiring globally. And it's also a confirmation of your angelic work that so many of you have been doing individually, mostly in the past, but it's your work coming to fruition. It's what you're here to do first is to change the world, and you get more of your rewards later on, but you are seeing it. So the masses are fed up, and you're seeing more and more of them every day. And this is because this is the transition. This is the change. You guys keep putting out my cigarette, I gotta light another one. Say, Rick, stop smoking. Yeah, I'm soon gonna stop, but again, you know, I'm smoking good natural cigarettes, absent of the chemicals, what I preach about. So anyhow, back to the topic. So yeah, you know, with these yellow vest protests, they have spread worldwide. They are in Canada, perhaps even down in the US. If they're not in the US yet, they will be there, because they're not only, when it originated in France with a few truck drivers, I believe, started it protesting about the prices of fuel. It has grown in different countries. It's against different things of the government, against taxes, against laws. So, you know, it's a yellow vest, but it's a generic protest against all aspects of, you know, the conditioning and the controlling and the ridiculous things like what has happened in society. It's absolutely preposterous that it confuses common sense. And I'm getting right to what it does. Like, you know, there's no need of it. There's no need of people not having enough to eat. There's no need of people holding down two jobs, the husband and the wife, and, you know, the children going to school for 25 years. Like, what? Like, you know, common sense. And also with the money things, and you'll see this, many professionals and more each day, economists, financial analysts, all of these higher professors. Oh yes, and you know, even professors and scholars, you know, at universities and things, they must speak their truth, and they are now. How ridiculous that this really is, where governments and the selfish rules have taken, and how they have suppressed humanity. So it's you know, when you start having these scholars and what have you, and prominent figures wake up, then you know it's time for change, because none of them can support it, because it's all a lie. So anyone in government that is government and all these positions of power, anyone still endorsing and trying to impose the lie upon someone is lying to themselves, and they implode. And you know, they're having rapid choices: either do the right thing, or they're going to implode. And it's that simple, and it is happening. And I don't need to get more into that. But with the people, you know, what we may be doing is energetically and perhaps even organically supporting some of these protests in whatever way, you know, that we feel. I feel it's more beneficial that we can come in from the energetic side, that, you know, we don't need to readily get out there organically. I believe, as you know, others have done in the past, you put your energy and your light into an area. And you know, very quickly, South Dakota, about the pipeline, comes to mind here as well. I know we did an experience, a partial experiment on that. I don't recall if I put it out live, but I do know that behind the scenes there were several of us that were sending in support on an energetic level. And what occurred, the confirmation that it was true, is that I believe within a day or two, we're starting to read headlines that people began to come there to support the indigenous peoples in their stand at Standing Rock, you know, against in South Dakota, against that pipeline. What we were seeing was that people began from all over the country and even far away to come there and to support. And I think it even went as far as perhaps maybe Himalayan, something from a monastery or some monks, perhaps coming in and supporting. So for us, you know, we don't need to doubt what we're capable of, and we do see our confirmations all the time. And what's going to happen here in the near future, more of you joining together, and when we do these powerful energetic exercises of quick and rapid good change, you're going to see your confirmations, and yeah, you're going to be very happy with it. And again, I'll just point you to the hurricane. We slowed that down against all odds. We shut down computers in Fort Worth, and what's the other one? I just anyways, Fort Worth, and I did know the other one anyway. We shut down those communications. I don't think it was ever publicly put out, but we have confirmations from the inside that that did happen. And oh yeah, and the most powerful angel lady that she tore the wires off of CERN. She remotely went and did that, and they put out news release a month later that a weasel chewed them off. So, but we know the truth of what we need to do, and those are only a few confirmations for you that we can do this, that we do it, and I'll be showing more of you how to do it in the near future. So having said that, just checking here. I believe I got most of the points done. Oh no, one more I have. One more. And this is a very interesting point. I was just speaking with Colleen, a very powerful divine comrade. She called me earlier tonight, and she said that Trump did a speech where he was asked about the present shutdown of the government, and she told me that there was a reporter that asked him a question, and immediately when she said that there was a reporter that asked this certain question, I was immediately given that that reporter was staged organically there to ask the specific question. And the way I got it, essentially, the reporter asked the question like, how long are you going to keep government shut down, or what's your action, or what are your thoughts, sort of. And Trump's response was, he said two words that is very important in his response, and I did not write it down, but more or less, it's my understanding that he essentially said he'll keep government shut down for 2 years if he got to, and that he does have the prowess to do that. And like for Democrats and things, it doesn't matter. I don't believe I shared this with you guys, but it doesn't matter who gets in there. Divinity is running the show, and everyone has to submit to the divine plan. And it was very interesting in Trump's response, more or less, he said he could, which he can, because he has things signed to do that in preparation for martial law, if that's needed to be done. He said he could declare a national emergency. Now, those two words, without speculating, but just take a moment to look at that. National emergency. Usually, if something is that severe, that perhaps martial law is part of a national emergency. So I'm going to leave you with a little bit of mystery, and I love to think the higher things that perhaps he's alluding to. Yes, the national emergency, the emergency broadcasting coming out, martial law instituted, and then the further cleanup, which may lead to us enjoying that quantum financial system on lower timelines yet. So let's see what takes place. Again, I'm not giving anything concrete on that, but what I will say is we're receiving so many signs that we may be on those timelines where that does come into effect. And actually, I just received a confirmation on that. So, woo! I wanted to get out of here, get back on my ship, and go to another planet of lush green forests and peace with all kinds of animals, and perhaps with a lovely lady, my divine twin. But hey, let's see what happens. We can still have fun here by changing everything too. So let's see what happens. Okay. So I love you all, and I've rambled long enough, and yeah, we're going to be having shows, I anticipate, with Linda in the next few days. And again, when Linda is pretty well set up, that when we have these interviews and broadcasts, that they can be translated into many languages, I believe. So that way we're getting out of the world, because as you know, we need to, and this is expanding, and that we have angels everywhere, right around the globe, and within every race and within every creed that was there. So wow, feeling like I'm starting to float here. I was going to say, okay, Father, it's time for me to go. Maybe up there, but time for me to go here as well. So love you guys, and questions out there, but no, I needed to get this information out. And as I said, you know, we'll be doing lives and things that we will answer questions. And I know everyone has questions, and our intent is always to assist everyone, you know, to the levels that we can. But please understand, all of you, that I try to assist as many as I can, but I am on limited time here as well on these timelines. So that means that it's limited to the ones I assist. It's limited to how many messages I can read. I still have lots of those I have not got to yet. And so, you know, bear with it, keep there, and we just keep going on and doing the best that we can do. So stay in your full empowerment. Look at the virtues. There's some things with those virtues on ancient beliefs I will share with you that has to come out. They're not exactly divine virtues, what we wish to be empowering. I know I reviewed that post a bit. We wish to take some of the lesser virtues out of there, because they were named a virtue, but they're actually not a virtue. So wish to change, you know, some of those parts of history, especially anything that is suppressive, anything oppressive, anything patriarchal has got to come out of there. And you know, anything that is a self-service to one's, anything that they may display as a virtue that is actually has ill intent behind it to retain control over the individual. That is not virtuous. That is something that is masked and disguised. So, yeah, you know, use your own discretion. You know what virtues are real. Pretty simple. Just keep morally and ethically on your best demeanor. You can elevate yourself by always being courteous, politeness, and being joyous. You know the effects of your energy when you do that. They keep you in higher vibration. They raise the other you're around, and they raise the vibration of the atmosphere. And you can contribute that, and it's like free energy when you do that. It doesn't stop. It actually keeps going, right? What stops it is when negativity comes in, or something like that, if you're unaware and if you don't know how to control it. then that will stop your free energy. But once you got all the tools to know how to master and not let any negativity stop the free energy, then hey, guess what? We got her made big time here, and everything changes, right? Yeah. Can you imagine what if all the politicians and leaders upon the planet were like us? Yeah, we wouldn't need any governance whatsoever. Everything would be just so harmonious. So, but we're getting there. Woo! And oh yeah, okay, Hung. Yeah, she said, yeah, energy is so high. I visited Hung at the store, and just before I got there, 15 minutes before I arrived, there was a beautiful rainbow, and I got a portal open there too. Anyways, love you. Peace, and carry on, and let's see what